You.
All right, what's good, guys? Welcome to the In the Lab podcast, ITL podcast. Today we are doing episode 22. That's episode 22. And today we have a special guest all the way from Chicago. We have Nathan Hong.
Nice to meet you guys.
Photographer extraordinaire, concert photographer. He's taken for some incredibly talented artists and with incredibly talented content. And yeah, it's a pleasure to have you.
Dude, it's good to be here. I've been seeing all the clips, so it's like, oh shoot, I'm actually here.
Yeah. If you don't even see, there's a huge ass light in front of us, like the dentist office right now.
Yeah, should I just go
Yeah, for real. But
all
yeah,
my shades.
I guess just to segue into like all of it too, like, yo, tell us about your story. Like you shoot some like crazy like high prolific artists, and at the same time, you know, you're out there just like making a bunch of content as well. I mean, you came to Toronto to like even like go around network with like even the artists here and shoot content for them too. Like what got you into like the start? What was the progenation of all of it?
Like from, I guess, like my start in like photo work, or start in like the music scene, I guess.
Everything. We can start from ground up, brother.
Okay, so I guess like in terms of like my lore, in terms of photography, I always was interested in like creative mediums. I was always like doing something creative. So up until like middle school, I was always doing like art. So I did a lot of like painting, sketching, and stuff like that. And then I got into music starting like middle school through high school, and that was like my whole thing. I was originally gonna go into college for music as well, basically during like the end of high school, like, you know, photography was like always something that I did, you know, like just on your phone. I'm sure a lot of people are interested in that. And like I used to edit like in high school, like all the photos that I would take, I go on trips and I edit on like old Visco app. You know, that's like the classic way. And then basically what my high school did at the time is during like winter breaks, they'd split it up into like 2 weeks of actual break and 2 weeks of this thing called winterum. And during winterum, they would have this like an option for some people to go on trips, and they'd have some options for people to like take classes, right? So I opted to take classes, and these would be like more non-traditional classes. So they'd offer like hands-on business courses, like woodworking. I took like a firearms course once, so I had like a hunter's license. They'd have like medical, like med 101 type classes where they invite like local like doctors and surgeons to come talk to us and stuff like that. So basically one year, my junior year of high school, they had a photography class taught by like a local photographer. So I was like, oh shoot, maybe that sounds kind of fun. So, but I needed a camera. So like I went to Costco with my parents, and I got this like little dinky camera bundle that was like $400 or whatever it was. And that's pretty much what I did. And after I took that class, like I knew all the basics of using a camera, but I never touched it again after that class, because in high school and even through like first year COVID college, like I never went outside. There was really no opportunity for me to take pictures. So fast forward to like sophomore year of college, being on campus, I was like, oh shoot, I have this camera collecting dust in the corner of my room. Might as well bring it, because, you know, I have nothing else to do with my life when I'm there. So I would just go out, I met some friends, and I would just like take pictures of like people, you know, and like my friends as we were like hanging out. And I was like the guy with the camera, if that makes sense. That kind of went through basically until the summer. And that summer of like between my sophomore junior year, I was supposed to go to Korea, but COVID started spiking again, so they canceled we had to cancel the trip because they closed off travel again.
Oh man.
Yeah, which kind of sucked. But and then it was like too late at that point, because summer was just about to start recruiting for like jobs and like internships in like more corporate space. So I was like, okay, what can I do? So I got a photography job. I ended up like applying to this company that like worked in the hospital, and I would like knock on doors and like the newborn baby, like the maternity wards, and I'd be like, oh, it's your baby's picture day, and then I'd take like their little like newborn baby pictures.
Well, that's smart.
And that's basically it.
Yeah.
It honestly made good money. I probably made like $60 an hour doing that, based off like the amount of hours I worked. But that was my first job, and because of that job, they taught me how to edit professionally. And then I also they were like, oh, your camera's not good enough, you need a better camera. So I was like, okay, I'll get a better camera. So I bought a Sony A7 IV, which is like a $2,500 camera, which is kind of a big upgrade from the camera I was using at the time.
Yeah, the
right?
hybrid. It's like a
Yeah,
hybrid
yeah,
camera.
yeah, exactly. So I got that, and that was like my excuse. I was like, I have this really expensive camera, now I have to go use it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would like kind of like walk around my campus at the time, and I would like, you know, go into like little stores or businesses, and I'm like, oh, can I take pictures for you, or, you know, I'll give it to you for free and whatever. So they would like give me food, and then I'd be like, take a picture of it, and then I eat it, and then I leave. That's pretty much it. And then I started dating a girl start of like junior year. So kind of took a back burner like side, you know, thing when I was taking photos. But by the end of the semester, we were broken up. So I was like, ah, shoot. And I was like, I need to distract myself. So I started like going a lot harder into like the photo space. And that's when I started like walking around campus a lot more. I'd force my friends to go outside, take pictures with me, and stuff like that. And then a couple of weeks after that, that's when I started getting into the music scene. Because, you know, the Soulfly guys, so shout out TJ J Lee, they were opening for an artist called Junie, who was like was my top artist for like 3 years in a row at the time.
Fire.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my god, because they told me, they're like, oh, we're like we had this like show with this like random K R&B artist, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then they eventually one of my friends told me later, it was like, oh, they're opening for this guy called Junie. He didn't know who it was. I was like, no freaking way, dude, he's open for Judy. So I asked them if I could come over, take some pictures. And they're like, dude, that'd be sick. So I ended up having to like sneak into that show, low-key, because the guest list was full.
Yeah.
But like I just showed up, and I showed up with my camera. I was like, I'm here for media. And then they were like, okay, go on through. Here's an all access badge. I was like, okay, bet. And that's kind of how it started. And they liked the pictures. And they introduced me to Highvine at the time, and then he was opening for Gemini, so they invited me to take pictures for that as well. And that's when I started getting connected into like the tour scene. So I started talking with like the tour production team that was working with that show company at the time. They connected me with more people, and then basically got introduced to like all the expo people at the time when that was booming, and then it kind of just snowballed from there. So it was just like a little bit of a spider web of networking. Like I got to meet other photographers in the space who told me, they're like, oh, you should be doing this. Here's people you could reach out to. And then like other people in the tour space, they're like, oh, I know another tour manager who needs someone.
Yeah.
Here's like a gig I can offer you, or something like that. And then that kind of just expanded. And I guess that was like the start, and like I guess where it led up to now. And that's been like a year and a half ago now. So
damn, that's amazing. I mean, even like in that period, you made a lot of progress, bro. And I think it's like you're naturally just like hustling, like from going business to business, being like, yo, you want like photos of your food, like it's like, you know, I think it's one part you do a good job, and another part there's just that opportunity that it just clicked, like the whether it was like fucking Soulfly, them doing the Ginny one, meeting all those people. So kudos to you, man. Like, even though, I mean, it's a year and a half, like that's actually a pretty short time to be able to do all the things that you're doing now. And I can tell one of the biggest things is that you're just like drive to like try to like get that shit done and just do a good job at it.
Yeah, I think I also got really like I look back and I'm really grateful, because I feel like the industry within the entertainment space, even like the way I do like sports on the side as well, like I do sports media and then like doing music and all the like entertainment spaces, there's a lot of people who are like really gatekeepy, and I'm like glad I met a lot of people off the bat who were like genuinely looking to see people win. And like, you know, they saw me and they were like, oh, we see you're working, we see you're like looking to, you know, your drive, like, you know, your drive to like get further and further. They're like, I respect that, and I want to offer you some like more opportunities, because I want to see you like do well in this field.
That's fine.
And I'm really great for that.
So do you find, even like in the music scene, is that the currently in terms of photography, do you think the music is the one that's most like passionate for you, or what is like giving you the most like how to say, like fulfillment when you do photography?
I would say the music scene for sure. I mean, I always had a passion for music. Like I was gonna going to college studying music, but you know, I guess like longevity wise in terms of financial stability, that wasn't the best move
It's
for
fucking
me.
scary.
Right.
It's hard.
So yeah, yeah, exactly. But you know, it was always still a passion on my side. Like I love the creativity aspect. I love, you know, like just listening to it. So the vibes are always immaculate. Come on now. So and being able to like work with a lot of my favorite artists is always like a great big plus, dude. And then doing this kind of thing. So
So what do you think in terms of like your photography career right now? What do you think is the highlight, or like do you have like a few memorable highlights that
like
you remember?
just moments or like people I've gotten to work with type of
Moments,
thing?
moments for you.
Moments? Dude, shoot. Let me think. Okay, one recent one, like I got to work with IU, so for her tour, and IU is definitely like one of the most influential music names that I've had in my life. Actually, like, you know, I grew up listening to her, like as like my parents grew up listening to her. You know what I mean?
What?
Yeah, like because you know she debuted like what was it like late 2000s.
Dude, I didn't even know that. Wow.
Something like that. Yeah. So like my parents like listened to her like albums when she first debuted because like they were listening to K-pop because my parents are Korean. But you know, so I was like, dang, I've like heard her, listen to her, and she's also like, you know, like the face of Korea basically. Like she every
Like
every
soju brand and
brand
shit.
you see her
Yeah.
face, and I was like, one of my tour manager friends was like, yo, I might have a gig for you with like IU, and I was like, dude, IU is probably one of the biggest names in like K-pop. So, you know, maybe other than like Blackpink or BTS or like Twice or something like that or New Jeans, like I was like, dang, dude, so working with her was like such a. I can't really say much about it because I'm under, all that stuff. But dude, that was crazy. That was crazy. And I did like 3 stops with her on her tour recently, and just being a part of that and being able to like contribute a little bit to something that big was probably one of the top moments so far.
So I mean, it sounds like it was a great experience.
Yeah.
Damn. That's actually insane. So you grew up listening to like, I feel like you're like definitely like a K-pop like fan then, right? Or
Yeah, I didn't like really get into it though until like 2018.
Yeah.
Is because my cousin introduced it to me because he like introduced me to Twice, and he was a huge Twice fan. I was like, dang, these guys, wow, this is actually kind of fire.
Dude, I know people who are that. They're like, what do they call like Once? Is that like
Once.
That's fucking
Yeah, dude.
low key.
That's me.
That I don't know, like don't get me. It's nothing against Twice, but I
Yeah.
feel like Once is like I don't know, but that's a crazy name for that. Doesn't
I mean,
even
there's like
doesn't even
shoot,
make.
dude.
It's kind of funny.
I mean, there's a lot of like fan
Yeah.
group names that
Yeah.
I find questionable, but you know, I'm not gonna say nothing about it.
All right, that's
but, like,
valid.
you know, yeah, no, Twice was like my intro into it. But like I grew up listening to like K-pop because my parents played it. I grew up like watching K-dramas, but I grew up in a primarily like white area. So obviously like I wanted to be like everybody else. So started listening to like hip hop and like the
Yeah,
pop scene
yeah.
and like all that stuff, like all the people that everyone else was listening to. So I grew up listening to like Khalid, like Taylor Swift, like The Weeknd, stuff like that.
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is,
yeah.
I mean, like there's still good music, right? But you know, I think after I entered college and I was like, wow, other Asians exist.
Oh,
Then
that's
you know,
true.
I was like, wow, I'm not. It's not weird to listen to K-pop. It's not weird to like listen to like AAPI music. And I don't like categorizing it as AAPI music, but it's just like the community that tends to just like resonate more with those kind of artists. So, yeah.
I see. Yeah, it's like I think one part of like I think that's a really interesting thing that you mentioned, like AAPI music, because I think one part is definitely the music in itself. Like if we could describe, let's we can even play a game, right? If we describe AAPI music, like what can we name? Like one is like Keshi,
Yeah.
100%. What's
Hell
another
yeah.
artist?
Dang. I mean, Joji was popping.
Joji.
Like
We have fucking Rich Brian. We have
shoot.
fucking
like
Nicki.
Nicki.
Yeah.
Like
And
Beabadoobie.
exactly. Yeah. And I think it goes to the point, like even beyond the music, it's more of that whole idea of that community.
Mm.
You know, like not to like and specifically stereotype anyone, but like it definitely is like a certain like Asian community that listens to like that kind of music.
Yeah.
And I think that's like a good thing, especially bro, like I mean, I want to hear more about the experience, but it definitely isn't easy for you to like for you have so much like passion or enjoyment in the Korean culture, like your parents putting you on, you watching all that like K-drama
Yeah.
and stuff, and holding that when you're living in like a just like non like Asian community.
Yeah. No, I mean it was more like a white culture on the weekdays, Asian culture on the weekends type vibe
Yeah,
when I
yeah,
was kind of growing up.
yeah.
So,
Damn. But I guess now is like, yo, it's crazy. Like even like I guess like K-pop and shit. That shit is like bled into like complete
right?
mainstream now.
Which has been great for business, but
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but no, I think it's interesting to see because like I don't know. It's cool to just go into communities where I used to be and I felt like really stand outish, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And kind of go back there and people actually understand where I come from and like understand the culture. So I think that's kind of cool to see as like time's gone on as well. So
That's true. That's true.
yeah.
Damn. So even like when it comes to your photography and like just doing like more of the, I guess these like artist gigs too. Like, do you have any like dream artists that you want to like do?
I mean, I feel like it's just a lot of I don't want to sound like basic, but I mean like what you were saying is like the certain community of people who just listen to like the top Asian artists.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm like in that community. So,
That's
so, like,
fine.
I
Yeah.
want to shoot for like Twice. I want to like work with New Jeans or BTS, like
Yeah,
people
yeah.
who help define like Korean culture and really bring it into like mainstream.
Yeah.
Like being able to just like contribute to that kind of thing is like I think is something that I would really love to do, and that's like a dream for me. Or like work with Keshi, or
Yeah.
work with like Nikki, or be able to do or whatever it is, like people who have like been super influential in bringing Asian culture into the mainstream. I think that is just that's so cool for me to see, and I just like being a part of that would be such a privilege. So
I see. Like being part of the bigger picture, like the journeys
Yeah.
as well.
yeah, I'm not a huge guy on like being in front of the camera, like being in the limelight type of guy, but I find a lot of like self pride in like just being like able to contribute something, even just capturing moments that are defining for other people and stuff like that. That's why I love event photography so much. It's just like I just get to like see raw emotions, and it's my job to be able to encapsulate that within an image, and I think that's really cool. So
Is there like a shoot or a certain like moment that you think your photography was like A1?
A1, ooh, I don't know. Like an era or just like a specific
No, like a
shoot?
certain like yeah. Do you ever? Is there any like photo that kind of like resides in your mind that's like, damn, I fucking popped off with this.
Bro,
one.
there's like one photo I took of Leve when I got to like work with her for her Chicago tour stop back in the day.
Yeah.
Dude, that I don't know, maybe you could like throw it on the screen. It's one of the pinned posts on my Instagram. It's just like might be one of my favorite photos I've ever taken.
Yeah.
There's also one I took of Jeremy Zucker
Yeah.
at his show as well. That is probably one of my favorite photos that I've ever taken too. But yeah, those are probably the first ones that come to mind. That's why they're like at the top of my page, honestly, too. So, yeah.
What makes you feel like they're like the prime?
I don't know. I think everything just worked out in
Yeah.
terms of like the image. Like I use like a lens filter, and like it's like it makes like these like stars with like any lights that shines into it. And basically like it's all about like if the light just hits just right, you know what I'm talking about. And in those pictures it just hit just right, you know what I'm talking about. So gosh, it just looks great. So
Dude, that's sick. It's like some like it reminds me of like fucking I watch a lot of Nat Geo shit.
yeah,
And I know motherfuckers in Nat Geo, they camp out for like literally like hours and hours and hours. And
Right.
You don't get to control what happens. But
Exactly.
you get to, if you're there, right time, right place,
Mhm,
right
mhm.
moment, bow, you get a
Dude.
fucking beautiful photo.
yeah. I mean, I'm taking like 5,000 pictures per show, low key.
Jeez.
And
Yeah, that's
I probably
crazy,
come
yeah.
out with like 30 good ones.
Yeah.
To be honest. So it's like I'm like spray and pray, dude. Honestly, it's spray and pray most of the time.
Yeah. Damn. So even for like I guess going back to like your photography,
Mhm.
right? Do you think like the concert photography is something that like what do you think is different from concert photography to like corporate photography or anything different? Like what is like the pressure? What is like the thing that you're thinking about the most when you're trying to shoot like concert photos?
I think it's more so focused like vibes versus like technique, I guess, when it comes to corporate. So like when you do like concerts, you're given a little more creative freedom
Yeah.
because everyone has a different vibe at their show. You know, every artist has a different like image to their brand, and like trying to capture that within an image, as well as just trying to capture the energy that's going on at the show. There's a lot more ways you can do that versus like taking a corporate headshot or taking like a stock photo looking image. Or if you're at a wedding, it's like, okay, I can get creative, but there's like, you have to have some level of like, you have to be within this like technical scope of like what I can do. If I get too creative, then it's like, whoa, it's like a little weird sometimes, and like the client might not like them, because it's like the point of those pictures is like it should last, it should be timeless, right? So you want to be relatively minimalistic when you're editing a lot of those photos. But you know, when you're in concerts, it's like everything's changing, like things are moving fast. Even sports, it's like just trying to capture the vibes in a creative way.
Yeah.
Because that's how you stand out as well.
Yeah.
So I think that's the biggest difference, is just like how far I can push it, if that makes sense.
I see. It's like really getting. Do you feel like when you first started, was it? Because I don't know. For some concerts, you really have to push your way into it, right? Like,
Yeah.
Like not fight the crowd per se.
Yeah,
but like,
a little bit.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
you have to go between the ebbs and flows of how they're moving too.
Yeah, it's like a weird balance of like, well, I really need this shot versus like, I mean, like the people paid to be here, so it's like I don't want to disrespect them in that sense, and like be in front of them and stick a camera in their face while they're trying to record, or like they're trying to watch their favorite artist, right? So I think it's a little balance of that, but you know, a lot of times I'm just like in and out, so I'm like, I just got to do what I got to do. Like I'm here to do my job too, so it's like get the shot and then dip, so I can, you know, move to a different spot or something like that. But there's a little nuances here and there, but you know, most of the time, people are pretty good with like letting you through, or you know, if otherwise I just like go in places where people aren't, and I just work with what I can. So
I see. Then for you, who like, let me think how I say this. So, for example, like even now, like let's say, if you were to give like one piece of advice to someone who wanted to start doing concert photography, what do you think would be like the number one advice?
There's no shortcuts. There's really no shortcuts. Like you have to want it. Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, because a lot of people are like, oh, like, you know, just get connects, and it's like, dude, to get connects, there's so much work you have to, like, I probably sent like thousands of cold emails to managers, to artists, to like creators, or whatever it is. I probably sent like hundreds of like Instagram DMs, and like, you know, to artists, be like every single tour I'm like reaching out to everybody I can, to like publications, whatever it is. And a lot of no's, a lot of ghosting, you know, just like, but you know, like you just need one person to say yes, really. And then when you get to that place and you get that one opportunity, you got to make sure that you're really milking it. Like literally don't just stand there and be like, oh, I'm just here to take my pictures or whatever. Like go out there, talk to everybody you see with a camera, you see backstage or whatever. Just talk to them. Don't like approach it in a way that's like, oh, I'm a photographer and, you know, like I'd love to work with you more in the future. Just be like, yo, you know, what you doing? Like, what do you do? Like, let me hear your story, type of thing. Because I realize, like, first off, it gets tiring just asking people for more work, dude. It's just like, you know, I'm not happy doing that. I want to like actually be friends with people. Like I want to actually have people I can hang out with in the industry too. So it's like, you know, just come with a genuine heart and just like legit, you have to put the work in. And like it gets easier as you go forward, right? But like especially at the start, like you got to grind for it. You know, like I, you know, would go on trips like this, you know, going to Toronto, or, you know, I would legit fly out for weekends, like to meet people, or like to do whatever. And like I'd fly to New York over a weekend. I'd go to LA over a weekend, like for legit 2 days. But it's like, and a lot of people are like, oh, why would you spend all that money to go there? It's like, that's investing in myself, because like, you know, there's no other way to do it. And like, that's the way you can actually build relationships. And, you know, it's just putting in the time, the effort, and like, you know, whatever it is to like really get it. But you got to be hungry. That's pretty much it.
I get you. It's like one part, like actually, like it's like beyond being like a photographer, like showing genuine interest in the people around you. And then another part is like dead ass, just straight up like hustle, like
Yeah.
like just like grinding
Yeah.
through it. Yeah.
Because I mean, like, people underestimate the best way to put it is like people underestimate the power of vibes, bro.
Yeah.
Like you can do the best work, you can be the best person, but if you're like super annoying to work with, no one's gonna work with you. You know what I mean? If you're a good person to work with and your work is good, then it's like, dude, you got it in the bag. Like that's always a good thing. So it's like just be a good hang. Like that's like the best way to put it. That I feel like a lot like the biggest thing I've heard for me, and not to sound like that guy, but it's like every time like I end up getting like more opportunities through connects that I've worked with, is like I love your vibes. Like I'd love to like just work with you again, you know, because you're a good person to hang out with, like you're fun to talk to, like whatever. So I think that's always like a good thing to have. So also don't be weird. Just don't be weird. I feel like a lot of people be weird when they're like working with people like people like in like high status positions,
like stuttering. Like,
yeah, they're like, oh my god, oh my god,
yeah.
I'm such a huge fan. Can I get a picture? Like,
Yeah,
it's like there's a time and place. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think understanding that is as well is also a good thing.
I get you, and I 100% agree on the vibes. Like for us, like even when we do like music videos and stuff, like or we do videos in general, I think one thing matters the most is having fun.
Exactly.
I genuinely think, like, don't get me wrong, like you can still have a great product is like one thing, like the end goal. Even when you work with artists, when we shoot videos for them,
Yeah.
like having a great video is like great. But the fact is like if they enjoyed making that video, that's what really like sells like the experience to them. Because we're not like, I mean, same thing as a photographer. End of the day is like the photos are one thing, but you're also creating memories. And the people that you work with are like, those are memories. And they associate you with them too. So it's like, hey, if you're gonna if you do a already killer job at the photos, the least you can do, and I think it goes such a long way, is just like being like easy to work with, being like a good person, and like just like doing things like well. I think I agree, man. Like I think like a lot of times is like one thing I learned in the industry too, is like I usually don't try to talk business when I like meet people in the industry.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Just because it's just like, like I don't know. It's kind of like it's way easier to work with someone when you like can be friends with them, or at least like can feel like you can be friends with them before like laying shit on the table. That's like some LA shit, you know. Some LA people they just like lay shit on the table. And it's like, bro, like
they're like, let's do this. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, like even with the photography industry, bro, that shit is like. I can imagine like concert photography is like hella. It's also probably like very competitive.
Oh yeah,
because it's like
there's only so many people. There's like, well, everyone wants to take pictures for that show or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like there's only so many spots that can be filled up, right? So
what do you think is like the? Oh, this is I guess another question too. Like even out of all the like emails or messages you sent, do you know your like hit rate? Like what do you think is the percent of like all of them that you actually like got something out of it?
Like I guess nowadays I get a lot more responses back, right?
Yeah.
Because I have more like I low-key just be name dropping people. I'm like, I work with this person, so I'm sure a lot of people, but like when I probably like the first like 6 months, like dude, probably like 5% maybe like got back to me.
That's still 5% still pretty good.
Yeah, I feel like I accredit it to the people I met because they were able to like push me directly into gigs, like right off the bat, like. Oh, shoot, it was probably like only a few less than half a year, a few months in, like to doing concert photography, and I had already gotten like an offer to work with Lil Baby.
Yeah,
and I was like, I was freaked out, bro.
Yeah,
I couldn't take it though.
Yeah,
I was so upset.
Wait, why couldn't you take it?
Because it was a super last minute. It was like the same day. And they're like, we need you to be at the arena in 3 hours. And I was at my college campus, which is like 3 hours from Chicago.
It's like, it's not.
And I had no car. And I was like, oh no, dude, there's no way. I just like losing out on a Lil Baby gig right now.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, I look back and I'm like, even being offered that gig at such an early point in my career doing like concert photography is like, it's a crazy thing to me. And it's like just an attribution to like the people who got me there. So.
Yeah, I feel you, man. And like kudos to you, because like it's like the whole mixture of like having those opportunities, that luck, also the hard work for it, and like like gratitude is always a beautiful thing. There's so many people, like when you're a good person, you work with good people, only good things can happen out of that.
100%.
Damn. And so even like going back to like your photography experience or concert photography, like what do you think what do you think the hardest thing is in concert photography, or were there any hard moments in particular for you?
Hard moments.
Yeah.
I mean, again, like a lot of people can be really kind of prickly in the industry.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? I think that's the hardest thing, but also like if you want to think about more like surface level, like the money.
Yeah.
The money is the hardest. Like it's as like a media person, like it's really hard to actually make like a living off this thing.
Yeah.
So I mean, like I'd love to do this full time, but you know, there's always areas like I mean, I also like to have some variety within like the things that I shoot, but yeah, the money is definitely the hardest thing in the music industry. I feel like not just for photographers, for everybody, honestly. So
That's true. Yeah, like fucking. Yeah, I always think when it comes to the current like ecosystem, it's like it's just super competitive.
it is super
Like
competitive.
everyone always has a mentality is like, yo, if you don't do it, I'll find someone that can for
Yeah.
like the price or whatever.
Yeah.
But also like end of the day, like it's also you can, I don't know. Like I think you get what you pay for when it comes to times, you know? Like
I agree.
you can't skimp out on like quality when you need it. So
I agree. I definitely agree. I give the same argument to a lot of people who say that kind of thing. Yeah.
yeah. But I think like, dude, that's like so sick. Like doing even like concert photography. Like I can imagine because like there's so many like, some. Okay, actually, this is a great question. I have an idea.
Okay.
Who do you think is like you've shot who had the most killer performance? Like what do you
Most
think?
killer performance?
Yeah.
Dang. Okay. Okay, there's two people that come to mind right now. First is Jeremy Zucker.
Yeah.
Jeremy Zucker, like, dude, there were a lot of points in his set. Like, his energy was top tier, dude. Like, the way his set design was built and, like, the parts of his set, like, there were points in his set. He had, like, a video camera that was directly connected to, like, the big screen behind him.
Oh,
And he would,
shit,
like,
yeah.
do audience interaction with that.
Yeah.
And then, like, there's parts where he'd, like, you know, bounce around to different instruments and, like, start doing, like just go off on the instrument by himself, like, on a synth or something like that.
Yeah.
And you know he's like jumping around and like you know super cool. I think that was honestly one of the most memorable concerts for me, also because I grew up listening to Jeremy Zucker as well. So it was just like super nostalgic, and I was like, he's just like killing it up there. And also like IU is because like I had the privilege of like watching her 3 times and watching her like rehearse 3 times. And dude, the energy she puts in, like it's a 3-hour show. She's singing for 3 hours
That's
straight.
so crazy.
Right? And I'm like,
yeah.
like, you know, she's probably like sprinting around like and I'm like, there's so much respect I have for like IU as well as like a lot of the other like K-pop like artists. Like this is pretty much what they do, because like pretty much all K-pop shows, they don't have openers because it's like they don't want openers, but it's just like, you know, they have like they do the full stretch of the show. And there's like she's like belting these notes, and I'm like, dude, doing that for 3 hours straight, like every other day for like a month is pretty crazy. So I was like, dude, that's crazy. And I was like, that was a great experience too. Great show too. So
I see. And did you end up like getting to talk to her, IU?
not really. Nothing past like a passing in the hallway kind of bow and like, oh, sorry.
That's cool though. That's
Yeah.
still sick.
Right? Yeah, as long as she knows I exist, dude, that's like enough for me. Dude,
Yeah, that's
honestly.
true. That's true.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
I feel like so even with their like Jeremy Zucker, their performance, right? It's like, what do you think? Because I'm sure you've probably seen so many shows now. Like you probably have like an idea. Like what do you think separates like a good performer as an artist or as like a bad performer? Like what do you is there any differentiations you can like find?
Okay, so I think there's like 2 distinctions I would say, and like one is like intentionality. So like having like I think having a plan is always good. I think it avoids uncertainty, and that kind of leads into the second one is like having confidence when you're performing. I think people who are just like who look comfortable like performing are always like more fun to watch, because I can just go off their vibes. Because you know, if you ever like listen to like a performer, they like make a big mistake, you're like, oh, are they gonna make another mistake again sometimes during this performance? But it's and if you can like tell it like fluster them a little bit, then it's just like, oh, like, or are they gonna do it again? And you're like watching with this like mild anxiety of like, oh, I don't want them to mess up. But it's
It
like,
makes
are they
you
gonna-
feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, it makes me feel uncomfortable. Because I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't want them to mess up, but it's just like, oh, they did once, so will they do it again? So it's like when it's like it's fine to make mistakes, right? But it's just like, you know, if you look comfortable and you're like, oh, you know, you play it off or whatever,
Yeah.
then that like, you know, makes me more comfortable as a audience member, as like a viewer, being like, oh, they're just vibing up there. Like that's good vibes, because I can just go off of that, right? Or like, you know, and like, you know, I think more superficial sense is like, you know, I love a good set design, dude. Like, you know, when, you know, there's cool show aspects, you know, like, or just like not even like a set design, but like just do something fun, like not music related, maybe. Like, you know, when people have like these little intermissions between their songs and they'll do a little activity or something. I think that those are always fun to, you know, make a show more memorable and more unique.
I get you, dude. That's actually super fucking interesting. I feel like do 100% on the mistake thing, because I feel like it's like, yo, I'm sure like when you watch people perform, they don't gotta be perfect.
Yeah.
It's just but it's like, yo, if you make mistakes, it's like, I think it gives them, if they like own up to it and just like joke or like kind of play it off, it makes them so much more human, versus like if you like fucking like, I don't know if there's any artists that fucking like rage and shit like that, get mad. But like, yo, as an audience would be like, what the fuck, man?
What's going on?
Yeah, but no, I get you. Like, I feel like your coolness, like as an artist, how well you can play off or adapt to like the shit that's going on is sick. And then your other point, set design, bro. I fucking love set design, dude. Like making something, like, I think as an artist or when you're performing, you're not just like performing your music, you're an entertainer. Right?
Yeah.
So it's like how you interact, how you talk, like how you even fucking like interact with the environment around you. And that set design, the projections, everything all comes to play. Like it's a whole ass like Broadway type shit. Yeah, and like, who do you think out of like the people you shot had like do you think it's Jeremy Zucker that
I
had
think
the
it's
best
Jeremy
fan
Zucker.
interactions?
Dude, he had some crazy set design, bro. He had like a whole grass hill set up, bro.
Dude, what the fuck?
It was crazy.
Was it a stadium thing or?
Not like a stadium. It was still like a big concert hall, but it was like he had like a whole like there's like a grass hill, like huge big like monolith screen looking things behind him, like
That's
on either
crazy.
side. And I don't know, like the way like it was just set up was really cool, and the way they like used that for performance aspect was really cool. Yeah.
I see. Damn, that's so sick. Then you've I guess like it's even when you take the photos too, like how are like the turnaround times?
Oh, I mean, okay, it depends on, usually like larger artists require me to like, you know, when I'm working with them, they're like, oh, we want it in like IU, I had to turn around every like same day. Like they were like 3 hours after the show, we need them.
God damn.
Yeah, so I was like, okay. So and then you know, like a lot of other ones are like within 24 hours.
Yeah,
like the longest I've had was like 3 days to like work on it for like a concert. That's probably like the longest period of time, because most people want to just post them right away. Right? But usually I mean, like I also do sports, and like sports, they're like, we need pictures within the quarter. Like within like the next 15 minutes, we need these right now. So like I am like running back and forth from like the media room to like, you know, like during halftime or something like that.
Like ranked editing, bro.
Yeah, legit. Like actually, I'm just like,
editing,
I'm like scrolling through my pictures. I was like, which is a good one? And I was like, oh shoot. So no, like actually, so I mean, quick turnaround times is not super unfamiliar for me. To be honest. So
how's the sports scene, man? Like the
sports scene.
What are you? I guess like what are you doing for also like our listeners too? Like in the sports scene, like what have you been working on there?
I work freelance for the Big Ten Network, which is like Division I, like United States like college sports league, basically.
Yo, US. Okay, this is obviously we're all Canadians right now, but like, yo, they take that shit serious.
Just big
fucking
big money in college sports.
There's one I know. Is it? I don't even know this college. It's like Notre Dame. Is that like
Notre Dame? Yeah.
That's like,
they're not in the Big Ten, but they're
who's number one
in like the Big Ten?
Like
I mean, it depends who wins every year. I forgot. I think Purdue won this year in basketball. I forgot who won football. Was it Penn State? I don't know. But there's like multiple conferences. There's multiple. Notre Dame's just in a different conference. And then usually like at the very end they have like national tournaments.
Yeah.
So all the conferences band in like one tournament basically. But usually like during the season they're only playing within their conference.
I see.
Yeah, they just added a bunch more schools into the Big Ten because they dipped from, I think it was the Pac-12, I think. So now we have University of Oregon, Washington, UCLA, and University of Southern California. They're all in the Big Ten now.
Wait, but is it like Big Ten as in they're the top 10, or they all play within the?
No,
league?
it's just
like
like
a league.
technically it was just 10 schools. So it was just like they just call it the Big 10. There's like the Big 12 or whatever the frick. And,
Yeah.
there's like the Pac-12, like Big East. There's like I don't even know. There's like I'm not like huge in I don't really know all that, like, but I just work for Big 10. Big 10 is the biggest conference though in the United States.
I see.
Yeah, so the biggest money.
Damn. So are you like shooting the like athletes play, or like is it just like overall like I don't
Yeah.
really know exactly what's going on there.
Yeah,
I would
so
love to know.
basically like it's counted for every sport. So every sport is like it's basically by university.
Yeah.
So the way they format it is like every university has their own photographer basically. So every university within the conference has their own photographer assigned. So I'm for like my alma mater, University of Illinois in Urbana-Champaign. That's like where I'm based.
Yeah.
So basically any big home games they'll give me like assignments. So it's like, oh, we're playing Purdue in basketball, or we're playing Penn State in football, or there's a big gymnastics tournament, or there's a big like soccer tournament or something like that. Like you need just go shoot that or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So basically I just go off assignment, basically any of the big games, but that's always fun. So like I'm just sitting on the sidelines. I get to watch games for free and then like just take a bunch of pictures. I get to work with the athletes as well, so that's always a good time.
Damn. You think there's any like crazy moments that you got to see at that like during those like events?
Ooh, I mean, like, there's always big rivalry games, right? So, like, we have big rivalry games, like, against, like, Purdue, or against, like, Indiana, or, like, against Northwestern. Like, those games are always fun because the fans always show out. And, like, there's always huge fan banter, and, like, everyone's just, like, heckling all the athletes and stuff like that. And it gets super loud. It gets super loud and super crazy. And I always get into those, too. But that's always cool. There's also all those moments where every now and again you almost get tackled by the athletes.
Oh, because you're on you're close.
Yeah,
to
I'm like on the sideline, or
yeah.
like like how you watch a basketball game and there's all those people underneath underneath the hoop in the line with all the all the photographers.
Yeah.
That's like I'm like sitting there, and they'll go on a fast break and go for like a layup, and then they'll like fall on top of you.
Yeah,
It's like that kind of thing.
Or they're trying to save the ball from going out of
exactly.
bounds. Oh,
So there's
shit.
every one of those moments every now and again. And you just get a little
Yeah.
anxiety. You're just like, oh shoot, I had to like start dodging people. But no, it's cool because there's a lot of athletes in those conferences that go to the NFL or like go to the NBA or something like that, and it's like, dang, I was working with him like the other month, and now he's on the NBA or whatever it is. So that's always kind of cool to see.
It's crazy. You're like almost like you get to take their like snapshot before. It's like almost their before and afters.
Exactly.
Like,
Especially like their come up basically or something like that, I guess.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people get to see that either.
Yeah.
Damn. Do you think do you enjoy it though? Like shooting those like
I enjoy it.
shooting as well.
Dude, it's all about the energy, dude. And it's like I got school pride too, so it's like, I'm
Fire,
always rooting
yeah.
for my team, and I get to like watch them up close and stuff like that, so it's always good.
Yeah, dude. You seem like a very like what do you call it? Like you riff off people's like energy, or at least probably
You're
for
right.
the work too.
That's actually the best way to put it. I always call myself an energy matcher.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if like it gets kind of weird in awkward situations when I'm hanging out with a bunch of introverts. And I'm just like, everyone's super quiet. I'm just like, just sitting there. I'm just like, okay, I guess we're just gonna all be quiet.
Yeah.
Like I'm okay with it, but whatever. Yeah.
Would you say you're like ambiverted, extroverted, introverted? Like, what do you think is your mix?
I'm pretty ambiverted.
Yeah,
Like I can be
yeah.
either one, whatever the situation calls for.
Yeah.
So like I can still like soak up energy in terms of that, or I can just like I can also like still have like energy in a sense while being like chill, more quiet. You know what I mean?
I see. Dude, the fucking the whole ass like USA, like the fucking school and shit.
Yeah.
Yo, that's one thing I wish we had in Canada, bro.
Dude, y'all gotta come out to the US, dude. Come watch a college game.
Dude, I want to
It'll
watch
go
a college
crazy.
game, bro. Fucking even like I watch those movies, bro. Like fucking like 21 Jump Street and shit.
Mhm.
Or 22. Sorry, this was
Yeah,
fucking
yeah,
22
yeah,
Jump
yeah.
Street. Like, dude, you guys have it so like it's so grand. Even one of my favorite Pixar movies is Monsters U.
Monsters University.
I actually fucking love that
yeah.
movie, and
Yeah.
it's because it's like, yo, it paints like such a cool like idea of what like university, or sorry, I guess you
Like
guys
school
call it
pride.
college.
Yeah, like
Is
school
like
pride,
what
yeah.
it is, but we don't really have that in
Mm.
Canada. Like we're so small scale when it comes to that shit.
Like in terms of like sports scene. I feel like that's the
Yeah.
biggest scene in terms of like competition that people like gauge out in America.
Yeah, like we dead us. Okay, like I'm not. I guess I can't speak on behalf of everyone because like I haven't really been involved in the sports scene. But I
Yeah.
know for sure like the fucking like school pride and shit is way louder in fucking like America.
Dude, people be fighting on that cheese, dude.
Yeah.
They'll actually like fight people based on like their school pride stuff. You know what I'm talking about? Or like their teams, like rivalries. Like people be throwing hands.
Dude,
It's
that's
actually
fucking
crazy.
lit. What the fuck?
You see like mad videos online of like people legit just be like, "Yo, your team sucks," and they legit just like punch him in the face, and they start like a street brawl.
That's
like, over
fucking
that, and
crazy.
it's like actually, I'm like, dude, I feel like it's like not that serious, but there's so
Yeah.
many videos like that.
But I love that though, cause like
Yeah.
I obviously I don't want them getting hurt, but like yo, it's like it
It's
just
good to
shows
see,
like
bro.
yo, it shows
It's
like yo,
dude,
you guys have an opinion,
yeah.
you guys are passionate about it. Fuck
Yeah,
it, man.
maybe a little too passionate, but like,
Yeah.
yeah, I get you.
Yeah, we have like what do you call it? I don't know. I feel like everyone in our what do you like in our in Canada, like
Mhm.
most people are pretty jaded about their schools. Like we go to
Mm.
a lot of the creatives, like one of the biggest schools right is in Toronto is called TMU. It was like
Okay.
called Ryerson at one point.
Oh, okay.
And they're like a creative school, so like we have like people in like media production. It's all like arts.
Oh,
arts
okay,
and
okay,
stuff
yeah,
shit,
yeah.
Right? But the problem is like our schools, like most of them are like commuter schools. I don't know if you know what that is.
Like, as in, like, you just go there.
Like, there's
like,
not really-
dorms.
There
and
are
stuff like
dorms,
that?
but people
Yeah.
don't really like have
Like
a
live?
culture built around it.
That
So
makes
it's like
sense.
you just literally transit because it's in downtown, right? So you
Yeah.
people come from everywhere. They just at home they just go back.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So there's not as much like camaraderie or however you call it.
Yeah.
And like yo, it's like crazy stories, bro. Like there's in my year when I was still in Ryerson or whatever, we had a whole ass scandal with our student union.
Oh.
They fucking created shell company to
What?
book artists and double the amount and pay themselves. So they would book
That's
motherfuckers
crazy,
like Tory
yeah.
Lanez, like let's say
Yeah.
you charge like 25K,
Okay.
right? They would book it through their shell company, charging 50K to the school and pocketing half of it.
Dang, that's
It was like
crazy.
fucked up, and like they spent
That's
like
crazy.
they got
What?
audited for their budget, the
Uh-huh.
expenses, right? They spent like ridiculous things. Like they spent like $1,000 on shawarma. They bought like thousands on bouncy castles, like
Yeah.
some crazy.
They just
stupid
like,
shit.
made random stuff up.
Yeah. And
That's
then
crazy.
the real kicker is
Uh-huh.
that Ryerson was like cheesed. Obviously,
Yeah.
they fucking tried. They fired the union.
Uh-huh.
They sued and they won.
That's crazy.
So, but anyways, that's not to like knock on the school in itself, but it's just like very different. Like we're not as like I would say prideful as our like where we come from in terms of school.
Gotcha.
But I want to. I wish we could. But it's
Mm.
just like just the circumstances. Like we just
I
don't
get
have
you.
that kind of culture. You guys have the fucking what's that shit called? Like frats, bro. They're fucking gigantic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? You guys have like even like those games where you guys are so passionate about. The schools are bigger.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like everything about dude, I sound like a fucking like a foreigner, bro, but like everything about
No,
like
you're good.
US culture is
Yeah.
like so like it's just like big, man. It's cool. Like it's a lot more fun out there.
Yeah, I think it's just because like everyone has their own culture, to be honest, and I think everyone's just like, oh, my culture's better, whatever it
Yeah.
is. Yeah, no, I get you.
Yeah, but I mean, end of the day, too. Like, I don't know. Canada's cool too. I think Canada's more like, I fuck with the people here. You know, I
You trying to
enjoy.
move to the U.S. though?
Yeah, we were talking about it before the podcast, trying to like, yo, just go to like Texas and shit, dude. First of all, Texas, like Buc-ee's is like, I want to.
Dude, I have a
haven't
Buc-ee's. I
went
got a
there yet.
Buc-ee's onesie. First off, it was great price, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
$25 for a onesie.
It's fire.
Yeah, that's fire, dude. That was a steal.
Dude, I want to fucking go to Buc-ee's. I need to try their like gas station brisket.
Wait, I went there, dude. It's like legit.
It's like
It's
huge,
legit.
right? Like Buc-ee's is
It's
gigantic.
huge, and it's like, dude, there's like a dude and a mascot running around, like
Yeah.
taking pictures with people.
Yeah.
But it's like, dude, think about like legit like a Walmart. It's like the size of a Walmart,
Yeah.
and it's like half of it is like merchandise, and then the other half is just food.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like they have like jerky stations. Like it's like
What?
You know how you
what
go to
the
like
fuck
the
is jerky station?
like you know how like you go to like any grocery store and you see like the butcher shop area.
yeah.
Just think about that, but it's just like in-house made jerky.
oh
different
my
stuff.
god.
And then they
yeah.
have like one of those like circular like stations where it's like just brisket like they're just cooking up brisket, chopping it up, like pulling it apart, like right there on the tables and making like sandwiches and stuff with it.
Oh,
Dude, and then like the second
Yeah.
half is like all of that stuff, but it's like they package it in like to-go stuff. and then you can just grab it and go, dude. I bought like some of the jerky. I was like, dude, this is kind of gas.
Yeah, I heard Buc-ee's fucking popping, bro. That's like the mecca. You know what I'm
Dude.
saying? Like that's where I want to like.
Dude, the salaries are also crazy. They like post
Yeah.
them out, and they're like, if you want a job, dude, you're getting paid 6 figures to be like a general manager at a Buc-ee's.
You think that's just probably hard though. What do
Yeah,
you
it probably is.
It probably is
is.
fucking
It's
hard.
probably a lot of work. But
Yeah.
I'm like, but it's also like, I mean, you're getting like 25 an hour, just like, what is it? Like being like a janitor or like specifically, it was like something about like specifically, you're just like, you clean the bathrooms. That's it. And you're getting like 25, 30 an hour or something like that.
Yo.
I was like, dude, that sounds pretty good, dude.
It does, but yo, gas station bathrooms, bro. Yo, I mean, you eating Buc-ee's
But it is
too?
a nice bathroom. Buc-ee's has nice bathrooms, bro.
Yeah, but I feel like, what you call it, like Buc-ee's, like they're gonna fuck it up.
Yeah, I guess Texas people kind of be like that.
No, I mean,
Not
bro,
gonna lie,
like,
but,
yo,
like,
Texas
no
people are
shade,
real
but, like,
eaters, bro.
That's true, but I like it. I like it.
Dude, I want to like, oh, dude, I remember when I went to like fucking Texas. I went to Austin for SXSW. It's like South by Southwest. Some like
yeah, no, I know what you're
yeah.
talking about. I know what you're talking
And
about.
like the fucking, oh, dude, the Mexican breakfast tacos, fire breakfast
Dang.
burritos, fire. I'm a huge fan of sandwiches. Like I'm a huge fan of
Yeah,
like
yeah.
anything that you can eat like in layers.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like
Okay.
sandwiches, soups. Like I like soups because you can. It's like everything in one.
Oh, that's crazy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yo, the brisket was fucking crazy.
Mm.
You know what's crazy? You guys even have like food festivals like where you pay a certain amount and everything is free.
Really?
In LA, they had one like that. It's like you pay like $60-$70. It's like all food stalls, all of it's free. You just
That's
all you can eat like
crazy.
food
Wait,
vendors.
I've gone to like food festivals like that, but I've
Yeah.
never done that kind of system.
Yeah, it's fucking
But
insane.
that sounds crazy, dude.
Yeah, and it's just like, bro, like, oh god, that's another thing I miss about like, just like going to. Dude, I don't know why I'm such like a U.S. dick rider right now. but, like,
yeah.
I love the fucking like food in like America, bro. I love barbecue. Like barbecue is like.
Did you go to? Did you? Oh, what is it? Wow, I'm blanking on the name, bro. Like the big Austin Terry Blacks.
Dude, I've fucking heard it's like fire. I think
Dude.
Ethan fucking told me, he's like, yo, that shit was like crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I think he
dude.
bought their dry rub and barbecue sauce.
Yeah, they like sell all the stuff and like the merch there while you're in line,
Oh
dude. Because
my
the line's
God.
always like down the block.
Dude, fuck.
Well, it's so good, so expensive though, but it's so good.
Dude, like barbecue,
It'll change your life, dude.
it will good barbecue changer. I remember when I was in like the first time I ate proper barbecue,
Mm-hmm.
like pulled pork and a brisket combo, like I cried.
You
Like I was
cried?
just like, yo,
That's
shit,
crazy.
man, this is like overwhelming. It's because we don't.
I don't know if I've ever had food that made me cry. I'm not gonna lie to you.
We don't in Toronto. We don't really have. Okay, Toronto actually has pretty good food culture, but
Yeah,
we don't really
it
got
is.
like. I think barbecue. I don't think is that great, and
Here?
Mexican food is weak.
Okay.
Our Mexican food's hella weak here.
I mean, you guys are pretty far from there, so
Yeah, yeah.
that makes sense.
Everything else is like fucking proper. Like I would say Toronto, like we have really good.
I got Asian food.
We have great Asian food. Like
Great
really
Asian
fun, good
food,
Asian
yeah.
food.
I've been eating brunch, dude. I've been messing up with some brunch here, dude.
Yeah,
I legit had brunch like 4 times while I've been here. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. What was it? Light Cafe. We went to this
Oh,
place
okay,
called,
I know
like,
what you're talking about.
next door restaurant. Yeah.
yeah.
I forgot all the other places, but like those places were like those places kind of hit. Dude.
Yeah, it's like the Asian
Yeah.
TikTok-ish recipes. type
Exactly.
shit,
And I was like, dude, that's so good. That's so good. But I don't really eat brunch like that, but I
Yeah.
low-key might start eating brunch like that.
I fuck with brunch heavy, bro.
Yeah.
Wait, you go. So what about in like Oh, I guess even another thing too. Like even in like Chicago, right? Like
Yeah.
how are the do you know any creatives also in Chicago that you like kick it with?
There's a few creators. So like a lot of them come from my university. So I knew them from university. So like Justin Shenny Visuals.
Yeah.
I know my boy Deep, shot from Deep. Kevin Gao, like I don't know his Instagram tag, bro, has got numbers in it. So
Oh yeah.
but dude, there's a ton of like super talented creatives that came out of my university, and it's like dude, they're honestly the people who inspired me to push this like creative work full time and like actually pursue it. Particularly Justin, because he was 2 years over me, and then he also was gonna go into corporate. But then he was like, "Oh, I want to take like a gap year to pursue creative work full time."
Yeah.
And then like after like a year and like a couple months or something like that, he ended up like popping off.
Let's go.
And then he was just
Sick.
like, "Yep." But he still works corporate. He's like he's chasing his bag, bro, because he's like very meticulous and very logical about his his like approach to creative work, because he's like, oh, I don't know if this is gonna be like what I do full time, but it's like, you know, in the future, you know, he's telling me, he's like, you know, corporate people, like corporate people are more traditional. They want to see that you have corporate experience. So I want to finish out this year working this corporate job, even though he's like, he's probably racking in like more than enough money through his creative projects, because he's working with huge brands.
Yeah.
Like he just did like a campaign with like Vans. He did like he had a deal with like Photoshop, bro, like Adobe.
Beautiful.
He'd be working
yeah.
with like huge artists and stuff like that. So it's like, I mean, he's like, he's been someone who's helped me like on the business end of things, as well as like on the like creative approach of things. He's like very introspective too now.
I see.
Yeah.
He's like a creator photographer blend, right?
He's mainly video. He's mainly
video. Oh,
video,
so
but he like started
videographer.
with like
Okay.
photo. He started with photo and then he moved into video
I
now,
see.
and that's what got it popping, because he's like locked in on that. So he's a huge big inspiration point for me. And there's just like, and then like Deep and like Kevin, they're like also super innovative with their work, and they're also like chasing their corporate bags too, low-key.
Yeah.
So I respect that. I respect that too.
Do you find like good balance when you're doing your like I guess your creative works and also the photography in general?
Yeah. I try to be a little more like I don't know, like safe with my approach. It's like I always try to be like, because like burnout's always real. Burnout and creative work is always real. So I try to like manage that as much as possible, and like manage like my mental stability
Yeah.
as a creator and working in this industry. So yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think is your best way of like managing burnout?
Just take breaks, dude. I feel like there's really no other thing to do except take breaks, because it's like the thing about like being creative work is like being creative is always fun and easy, like when it's like just a hobby and you're just doing it every once in a while because you're like, oh, I have an idea, let me work on that.
It's like a break in
Yeah,
itself.
yeah. But it's like if you're forced, like, that's also like why I'm like a little scared, because I like graduated with a degree in marketing and stuff. So it's like going into creative, you know, like going into corporate marketing, and I wanted to do more to like social media fronted side. It's like you're basically forced to be creative every day. Like you have to be creative every day.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I don't know if I have systems in place for that, and like I'm trying to like build it as I go, even like now, because it's like I've only been out of college for like a couple months now. So it's like I don't really have a full-fledged system to like really separate life and like creative work and whatever it is, or like find a balance in between. But yeah, I think that's definitely the hardest thing, is like managing that.
It's like just working towards it. There's no right answer. It's just like
Yeah.
whatever you can.
Yeah,
just
everyone
keep-
has their own
keep it-
thing.
Keep it
Yeah.
going. Yeah.
Yeah, everyone has their own way. Like some people are like, I don't want to even be on social media when I'm like having a burnout. But me personally, it's like I love being on social media because like I see other people working and I'm like, dang, they're doing cool stuff. Suddenly I'm inspired to do something cool too. So that always brings me out of my rut sometimes. But you know, to each their own, honestly, in the creative space too. So
I feel yeah. Like social media is it's like a nuanced thing for a lot of creators. I think some love it and some hate it, and some have a great relationship with it. I think it's about it seems like to me you derive a lot of inspiration from social media
oh yeah,
versus like
yeah.
doom scrolling type shit.
I have my fair share of doom scrolling. So,
Yeah.
yeah. But I definitely like to just see what people are doing on there too. So
And I guess like, no, I feel you. I feel like even to wrap this up too, like the last thing I wanted to ask as well is like, if you were to give advice to someone that was like getting into your industry or doing what you do, right? Perhaps we can even talk to like a younger Nathan, maybe like 2 years ago, Nathan.
yeah.
What do you think you would tell this fine gentleman?
Don't do it for the clout, dude. Don't do it for the clout,
Yeah.
because it's not worth it. Because like when I started doing this kind of stuff and working in the entertainment space, like if I'm being dead honest, and I feel like this might be I don't know if people relate to this, but like I did, because I was like, I wanted the clout, dude. I'm working with cool people, bro. Like I get to work with like influencers and like big artists that a lot of my friends are fans of, and I was like, dude, that's cool. I get to flex on people. And then after like 3-4 months of it, I was just like, you keep doing it, like the feeling starts to fade, not like in a bad way, but like it's just like I don't like, that's not that's not enough of a selling point for me to just like go out to these places, and I'm like, just to work with cool people, you know. It's like, and you know, it's just like a mindset shift, I guess, that you kind of need to have. And I guess like it's a good like motivator at first, but you know, eventually you need to find something else where it's like, okay, like not just being able to work with cool people, but like just like, or like work with, I guess like the term at first is like work with like famous people, right? And then you know, you move into just like, wait, people are actually cool in this industry. People are fun to hang out with. People are super genuine. There's like a good community of like creators within this space, and just being able to interact with them, being able to share experiences with them and create with them. I think that's what I find to be the best part about it, is that really the experiences that like follow the work. So I guess like for me, it's like, don't focus so much on, you know, like or it's just like find a good reason of why you're doing it. Don't just do it for the clout. Like there's so many other good things about like doing this kind of thing and working in this industry. So like, you know, find what you love and just pursue that. If it's just for the clout, maybe this isn't for you. So
I see. So what was your bigger reason, even like at the end after the clout stuff?
After the clout stuff, no, just getting to like meet people. Like I get to travel around and I get to work with people who are actually passionate about what they do. And I think that's like the biggest thing. I mean, like in the corporate space, bro, all you hear is just like, oh, I gotta go to work, dude. It's like every Monday is just like, every morning is just like the end of everything. It's like I hate my life. I'm like, dang, that sounds so sad. It's like I don't know if I could do that for the rest of my life. So it's like I had to go out here, and it's like people are hustling. I'm all about the hustle culture, and it's like, you know, people understand where I come from too. It's like, you know, in Illinois, or just like, you know, I went to university in like central Illinois. That's like farmlands, like cornfields area. It's like there's not as many people doing creative work or pursuing that kind of thing. So it's hard to relate to people out there in terms of like career goals or like passion, right? So I think like being in this industry is like I get to find people who I can relate to, who I can connect with on that level. And that means for me that I find it a lot easier to develop more genuine connections and relationships with people in this place, because I understand where they're coming from. I know what their lives are like, you know, like what goes through their head a little more, you know what I'm talking about? So, you know, I think that's the biggest thing for me. So it's more just like the people and the experiences, not so much about like who these people are, but like why they do what they do is more important now.
I see. It's like mad refreshing versus like people like not being happy with what they're doing. And going back to the whole thing is like you get to share that energy with them.
Exactly.
That's fire.
Mm-hmm.
Well, man, it was a fucking pleasure talking to you, bro.
Dude, same to you.
Chopped it up. Hopefully we can we'll hit up a Buc-ee's together one day, man.
Dude, that would be sick. That would be sick.
Get some proper brisket and blow the toilets up, bro.
Ooh, you already know.
On God. But yeah, everyone, thank you for listening to today's episode, and everyone, Nathan Hong.
Thank you.
Yeesh.